loud and clear. Mazes okay speaking to us today from the ground zero. You know, I have for a long time now been considering how best to reply Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo. And I've thought long, hence I've delayed this video, and I have no time to make video and begin to edit. And I said, the world must hear my voice, I must lend my voice, and in lending my voice, it will be a live stream. You know, the brouhaha between Soludo and Peter Obi, I wouldn't say between Soludo, no. Okay, I rephrase. The brouhaha that Soludo, or rather the harakiri that Soludo is doing against Peter Obi is uncalled for. As an elder, as a titled chief in the great Igbo nation, this is no time for jokes. I have really thought long to understand what is the reason behind this. I struggled, and I struggled, and I am still struggling to know why this happened. One, the attack was unprovoked. I've said this enough before. A governor was asked by Sean about the 2022 2022 budget. Rather than him to stay on issue regarding that budget, he word off. Let's say what he said that day was a slip. But for the governor to come to London, where he has light, people are dying in our state of Anambra. Many of us now are outside Anambra state. Someone like me, it is an aberration that I am outside Anambra state. It is an aberration. It's not because I wish to. We have houses, comfortable houses that we've built for ourselves without being immodest. Comfortable houses we built for ourselves. But many of us cannot. You see, some of you are just basically idiots. Just read one nonsense comment. Some of you are just, sorry, I'm not in the mood for niceties this morning, honestly. Just nonsense, I'll block you, I don't bloody care. We're talking about nonsense and we're talking about serious things, you're talking about one Nigeria. What has one Nigeria got to do with this? Is Soludo a northerner? You are just stupid, plain stupid. Don't get me worked up early this morning, I beg. So what I'm saying in essence is this. How come, Soludo, you were asked about your budget with a little bit of saying your predecessor, no name was mentioned, your predecessor. You had a man who handed over to Obiano 9 years ago. A man who was no longer in office. Your predecessor, for Christ's sake, talk about Obiano. But because there was nothing to talk about, because when you talk about Obiano, you talk about how much was used in building Anambra State Airport. It's something I've been demanding for so long, and Soludo cannot tell us how much Anambra State has spent on building that international cargo airport, with a terminal that's nothing better than a chicken warehouse. People, Nigerians, came together to support Peter Obi. Nigerians, not Igbo. Nigerians, Nigerian youth, who are aggrieved and are saying, amongst all these men contesting, this is a man we think could be better than others. Question is, why and what is Soludo afraid of? You know why I am pained? If this was coming from, some non-entities, it wouldn't bother me. But this is coming from a man who is a man who ought to be learned, a man who ought to know better. It's coming from him, right? My worry is that Soludo said he was responding to obedience, quote unquote, obedience. Then it beats me that Soludo is not as smart as I thought. How can Soludo be responding to obedience? Does he think that obedience equals Igbo? And he's now saying he's veered away from responding to the obedience, meaning Nigerian youths who are saying that Peter Obi is their candidate. And he said that Igbos must be very careful that when people make comment that attack them, for Christ's sake, who told you that the obedience are Igbos? How? So when we were making argument, telling the world why Soludo, we think Soludo is better for Anambra State, then we were not attacking anybody. We were not making comment. We were not making argument on your behalf. Or you think you just came from nowhere and you became the governor? You think your governorship happened in Anambra State just like that? The same people who you abuse now as obedient are the same people who thought you could do better than every other person. Until tomorrow, I still believe so. If you drop all this nonsense of many people say jealousy, if you drop it, you can do better. Our great father, Chinua Achebe, when in his, may his soul rest in peace, in his book, The Things Fall Apart, he wrote something that is very instructive. Okonkwo was told by the elders, do not bear hand in killing that child that calls you father. Do not bear a hand in killing that child that calls you father. That is Ikem Efuna. Yes, Ikem Efuna was a slave or a child of prisoner of war. But he has come to live in Okonkwo's house and has become part of Okonkwo's family. Now he's Okonkwo's son. We know that in the past there were, skirmishes here and there, political, against one another. I mean, these things are political. Now you have become a governor, Soludo. We love you. 2 months ago, we all were in Rome. We all met when Opareze was made a cardinal by Pope Francis. You, Peter Obi, Valentine Mozbo, Valentine Mobi, Victor Men, Victoria, myself, Elomba, we all there. At some point, we visited Cardinal Arinze, Soludo. Anyway, I'll let that be. Soludo, you are now acting like Okonkwo. I am very, very careful of my words because my father tells me that rain can cover your footsteps, but nothing can wipe spoken words. Nothing can wipe spoken words. My heart has been heavy since I read that thing you wrote. And I asked myself, Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo, why? Charles, why are you doing this? Who is behind it? When an elder like myself see a bird dancing on a tree, I must look around to see who is playing the drum. Who is playing this drum, Soludo? If Peter Obi will fail as your brother, If there are concerns that you have as a brother, tell him in private. You think all of us who work for disobedience doesn't have concerns? You think we'll come to social media and air our concerns? What makes you a leader is the ability to lead others. I know many people, since 2 days ago here in Abuja, I know people that have met when I say the who is who in Anambra State, in other political parties, but Soludo, I must tell you, they are all disappointed in you. And one must not say everything that he sees. Dio chiara kocha kwa nife ofu nenunku. Atolo malo atolo fe ko fe isi n'ofia. Soludo, wolile go eze ya ọnụ. Wolile go eze ya ọnụ. Soludo, you went to London. You sat down. You typed these messages while you're still. So Soludo, when has governance become that you will respond in your own words, those that does not matter? It was a direct affront and attack on Peter. Because if not, you should have stayed on the lane of responding to the so-called obedient, whom you know are youths, the same people that made you governor, the same people that against all odds came out to vote. Even when the gunmen men or whatever they are being called, we are threatening people in our dear state. I can't get it. I can't get it. I can't imagine that you as a professor sat down, crafted those statements, and you said part 1, Soludo, are you not acting movie? Part 1, meaning your part 2 or part 3 or part 4 will come. And I say, for what end? Peter, the man you spoke against in Sheun's interview, never responded to you. Because if Peter had responded to you and you did this article, the one will say you're writing a rejoinder, which gives you the right of reply. But look at yesterday. Now, Nigerians marry these two. Yesterday, the same man you attacked, they asked him in Lagos, while at the MBA event, what he thinks about this. He said, no, government is a continuum. He said you are smarter than him. He said, you're smarter than him. You're a professor. He's not. He's a trader. The ones he has done. If there were schools he built without roof, please, now, with your wisdom as a professor, put a roof over them. That is how government is run. You are now worried about the road built by Peter Obi. That is what you wrote in that thing you called peace. Look at what Professor Fabian Osuji wrote about you yesterday. You know, Professor Fabian Osuji wrote with so much weight and so much constraint because he was already a VC when you were doing your professor. Yet, he has so much respect for you. Soludo abakwa nomba atunogo abamba atunogo orokwa n'ogwe ka apiala ko. Soludo okenye amara egwuane wa aluluani ka odi. Soludo, none of us demands that you must support Peter Obi. No, far from it. None says you must support Peter Obi. You have the right not to. Why must you support Peter Obi? You have a candidate. Soludo, work for your candidate, Professor Omadi. Many of us, even the obedient, will never ever in this lifetime, not even in the next life, come online to demarcate Omadi. Why? If Omadi gets votes, he gets votes. Now, Soludo, if, as I thought that you are wise, you referred and you made a comment, because I need to respond to these things. I know P2B will not respond. He's too gentle to respond to this because he wants this to end. But many of us, we have restrained myself from talking because there are one or two things we also know. If Professor Mahdi, who is your governor, your presidential candidate, bear in mind he worked for P2B. So let him tell you those things you know. One thing we will never do is, we will never join you that place you want to drag, so that we will talk about the things Soludo did as CBN governor. Let those that will talk not talk. But Soludo, it will be a disaster. Mmadụ adị ọkwa n'isi ka ihe akọlị. Kedu ka oyi esi mma ekwu nke evu n'oyibo na maka na ndị achọ ka aghọta nke evu bụ ndị Igbo. Kedu ka oyi ji wee bụrụ na nwanne ya pụta ịzọ. Ọ bụgodị na ọ ya ada. Ọ bụrụgodị na ikwetalụ n'obi na ọ ya ada. Ihe ejezizi ụgwọ ụwa niile si ya na ọ ya ada. Gịnị mere? Gụnwe ife gịnị ya na-azọ. Soludo, you asked Peter, you told Peter to come over to APGA. That would have been a suicide mission. APGA for now is a regional party. APGA is where ACN was. APGA is where AD was. APGA is where some regional parties were. Soludo, for the governorship, you are APGA. We voted you. We did everything, the work for you. APGA. For the presidency, even if Peter Obi leaves today and enters a Nwangene party, we will follow him there. Do you understand it? House of Assembly, some will be APGA, some will be Labour Party, some will be PDP. APC is very unpopular in Anambra, so why bother? But why then would you even endanger your own APGA people? Because by the virtue of this, what you have done, if you don't know Soludo, I won't mention their names, but yesterday, I had a conversation with 2 House of Assembly people in Anambra State. Now they are worried. You know what they said? That they are worried of the reaction the people will give them when they come and seek their votes. Anambra is our state. We know these things. Presidential, if not that you've just damaged by this action, you've damaged your own party. Because the whole thing was that Anambra will vote majorly Labour Party in some of these seats because they have people that people have recognized. On the presidential election, they will vote Labour. But you have thrown up a challenge. Soludo, you have thrown up a challenge. I make bold to say today, you are governor of Anambra State. You are APGA. Soludo, I challenge you. If APGA on the presidential election gets 10% in Anambra State, then know that we are all useless. It's challenging now. Let's see. For how on earth even your presidential candidate, even his Mona cannot get 10%. What are you talking? What are you talking? You can't get 10%. You went to London. Where there is light. Left Anambra State. Go to London. Type this thing. Type. Set it. Say part 1. Movie director, that's what you have become. The one that breaks me is in the first part, the ending of the first paragraph. We know the things you've been doing in Anambra State to get rid of all these ungun men, all these criminals parading themselves. The reason why this Christmas will be the worst Christmas in the last 15 years in the Igbo nation. You know why? Because our own children have gone amok. Our own children have gone amok. They attacked a military van in your community, and all of them were neutralized. But Soludo, I don't know whether you think we are all idiots and daft. Without parading our degrees, the only difference between you and many of us, myself included, is that we we chose not to be in the line of academia. If I was, personally, decided to teach, I would be a professor like you as well. People who are professors, they don't have two heads. We are not all idiots. But how could you insinuate that those who were neutralized, that is your insinuation, subtle, smartly, so that we can hold you to it. But when we read content and context, read in between the line of what you were saying, Soludo, you were insinuating that those that were neutralized in Sofia the last weekend were those obedient. How? Soludo, you can accuse obedience of so many things. Many of them have verbal diarrhea. Many of them are keyboard warriors. Rightly so, these are Nigerian youths that their future has been abused, raped without any form of protection. Why wouldn't they be angry? Why? You cannot beat a child and ask the same child not to cry. The youths are angry. That's why they express themselves in that manner, even when many of us call for restraint. But you, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, why are you doing this? Why? Why would it be that you are trying to act like the great Okonkwo, whom the elders warned ahead of time not to be the one, not to have anything to do in killing Ikemefuna? Soludo, here is your brother. Why must the enemy come from within? Soludo, I would never ask you, and no one would ever ask you to vote for Peter. But you could go ahead and campaign for your own candidate without attacking the other candidate or trying to pull him down. If any other person had done this, one would have asked why. But it's coming from you, from your house. If I leave your house today, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, thank you, OC Okeke, thank you for the super chat. If I leave your house today from Nanka, goes Nanka Agro Road without traffic, I will drive about 7 to 10 minutes and I will be in Peter B's house. That's how close we are. That's how close, knitted that we all are. Maximum, even with traffic, maximum 15 minutes. Someone who leaves your house in Nanka, in Isofia today, you just drive down there in 15 minutes. Soludo, you said that Peter, all the roads that Peter built have all gone bad. But the one Ngige built are still there. Soludo, I thought you were so smart. Why didn't you say that all the ones he built got damaged and the one that handed over to you repaired them? Soludo, you are telling us you are awarding contract now to build road, build this one. Which road are you building? The one built by your predecessor. How come the one built by your predecessor is like a polythene bag that has been washed off the surface of earth? But you're not going to do that, Soludo. Come on. We are no longer going to tolerate this because this is things we say. And it is time that many of us begin to speak up. All and nothing we have for you is respect. And this is a direct message to you. As you want obido tadimma na odiwa abo mana imebigu ive. The damage you have caused. Like Professor Fabian Osuji wrote yesterday. He called on Ala-Igbo not to let this pass by. But I'll say to him, my good elder and brother, Dr. Professor Fabian Osuji, na ibiko wole anwayo. Iwe nwanne ere ru n'ọkpụkpụ. Ọ bụ na nwanne anyị nwoke cheghalịa tata. Na ọ dị na mma. We will not do any, let's not go there. But did he get it right? No. Professor Soludo got it totally wrong. We must not. I am one of those that advocate for Ala-Igbo to play better politics. Had Peter Obi gone to Abga, that will end it, because people will now call him a regional candidate. There were only two parties. There were only two parties available for this mission: Labour Party or SDP. National Outlook. Peter Obi is not an Igbo candidate, is not an Igbo president. Peter Obi is that face that represents the movement and the anger and the yearning for a new Nigeria. So, Luis, is that why you are angry that you are not the one in this position? Don't let us believe that that is what is your anger. Or don't let us believe what we have been hearing, making round every Dick and Harry in Abuja. Even people from the north knows. They'll tell you, oh, that Atiku has promised that after his tenure, they will make you president. Don't believe. I hope you don't believe such. A movement is a movement. There are things beyond the human eyes, and some of them are spiritual as well. Peter Obi imagines is spiritual. Not by his making. If he tells you that he made it, is a lie. Peter Obi is the making of the Nigerian youth. The Nigerian youth who watch TV and see places light, there is light, and they come home, there is no light. The Nigerian youth who will see their mom being raped by bandits, and you think they are happy. But yet comes a man. Some of them want to commit suicide, but here comes a man who gives them hope. Hope to live and wait and work together and to build that thing that others have. I hope you saw the response from your own son, who said, please, that he should be left out of this. And again, I condemn those who made that post insinuating one or two things about your son. And I like the way your son said he should be left out of this. Your son is an adult. Anyone who is attacking your son, your family, your wife, your daughter, that's below the belt. It is about the people. Please, those of you watching me, if you haven't subscribed to this platform, please do. If you're watching me for the first time, my name is Manzes, okay? Please share, like, share with others. This truth respectfully must be told. Later today, I will be interviewing Kenneth Okonkwo, Andy. Many of you know him, the Nollywood actor. On this topic, I spoke to him yesterday. We met. We said, okay, today we're going to have this. Let him have his view as well, because we want so that we know that we are not mad. We have so many. Let's have views from other people as well. Let's have views from other people, because this is getting out of hand. We can't just, allow one man endanger the lives of his own party. Because by what Soludo is doing, let me tell you, Soludo, it's just that we're under Anambra, we can't all be mad at the same time. If not, we can campaign against your party. Then we see that, recall that it is only Ala-Igbo. Ala-Igbo. That is where we can tell our own chi, we carved you with wood. We know the wood with which we are carved. We can take you back. It's in only Ala-Igbo that can send their God packing. Yes, I know and I believe till tomorrow you will do better. Even when people complain of the high taxes you have raised, I said, well, for the fact that you started this raise in taxes early enough means by the time you're 2-3 years in your government, people will get used to it. And we must hold you accountable. Remember what I told you, Soludo. I went to Oboko and I showed how Oboko was. Soludo, January is here. In 2 months' time, we'll compare. I'm coming back to Oboko in January to show the world, not to attack you, but to show the world a comparison. I will put the two videos, the streets that I went to Oboko. I mentioned them, and I'm going to go through the streets again and let the world see 1 year after what has Soludo done in Oboko. 1 year after, what has Soludo done in Oboduku Road? Are these roads and streets and these areas the same way it was when Mazi Ezeoke visited 1 year ago? That is what I call holding you to account. We cannot engage in abuses. And I call on so many of you who get sometimes worked up and triggered and start insulting others. Please, please stop. It is very bad that everybody starts attributing to the obedience of people who are indigent and who really like insulting others. It is very, very wrong to be identified in that manner. Very, very. But I can tell us that I am glad that Peter didn't join APGA, because if he had joined APGA, that would have been end of the road. Then I ask again, does it then mean that Soludo was wanting Peter to fail? Because if he had joined APGA, that would have been a suicide mission. Because he didn't join your party, then let him be. Take the time you use in fighting this uncalled for war, because why even a child is angry with you now, Professor Chukwumachao Soludo, is because the war is unprovoked. The things you're writing is unprovoked. The man in question yesterday called you my brother, a smart man. Please do this thing, do better than I have done. Okay, people, I have to now head back to the office. But I just come out and I thought to myself, before evening, let me get out some of these things out of my chest. But did you hear the other one? Yesterday, Tinubu has created another party. In fact, I'll do a video. Tinubu has come to PDP. Did you know that? Tinubu has come to PDP. So at some point, we must move away from this issue of Soludo. So people, share, like, and do as much as you can. Tinubu has come to PDP. Or tell everybody that I said it. So we'll leave Soludo alone for a while, and we'll go back to Tinubu. He has come to PDP. And you saw what happened yesterday. Yesterday in Jos, they were throwing stones, sachet water, table, everything to them. I said, Before you know it, Festus Kayamo started saying, this is all APC, they came from all walks of life, blah, blah, blah. Before you know it, they will tell you that this is obedience, that we're throwing stones. How can obedience go where Miloko day? Light and darkness, has it got anything to do? Listen, people, continue to be obediently useful. We go do like a weekend. As he depend them, he dey sweet us. As he dey sweet us, he go depend them. Oh yeah, people.